Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. The headlines. Police accuse detainees of killing a fellow. Faith MUSONDA escapes jail. Government to punish political offenders without impartiality as counting of votes in KAUMBWE underway. In international news, Sudan transition at critical juncture as power struggle deepens. And in sports, Copper Queens back home as they shift their focus to Tuesday return match. Join me with the main news in detail after this commercial.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
In other news in detail, the Anti-Corruption Commission has possessed the 65 million kwacha and $57,900 US property from Margaret Chisela MUSONDA, alias Faith MUSONDA. ACC Public Relations Officer Jonathan Siame, Joint Investigative Team from the Anti-Corruption Commission, Zambia Police Service, Drug Enforcement Commission and Financial Intelligence Center have since concluded investigation involving Margaret Chisela MUSONDA, alias Faith MUSONDA, in which she was found in possession of a 65,033,346 Zambian kwacha and 57,900 United States dollars, which was discovered in a house in New Kasama. He says on Friday, 15th October 2021, the state, using Section 80 of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012, entered into an undertaking not to institute criminal proceedings against Ms. MUSONDA on condition that she fulfills the requirements of Section 80 of the Anti-Corruption No. 3 of 2012. Section 80 of the Act allows the state to grant amnesty to the accused persons in certain instances on condition that they admit wrongdoing and return what they wrongfully acquired through corrupt practices. As required by law, Ms. MUSONDA has since made a full disclosure of the monies in question and has willingly surrendered the same to the state. She was charged with possession of property reasonably suspect to be proceeds of crime, contrary to Section 71 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010. The state has also taken possession of the house in New Kasama in which the money was found. The house property subdivision number 4 of subdivision V of lot 11279M, valued at 6 million kwacha, was owed by OCK Investment Limited, a company in which Ms. MUSONDA is a majority shareholder. The property was reasonably suspected to have been proceeds of crime. Police have named 3 suspects in custody at Chilenje Police Station as being behind the murder of Adrian Banda, who is allegedly suspected to have died at the hands of the police. Police spokesperson Roy Hamunga has told Camnet News that an inquiry file to ascertain the cause of the death was opened and 3 suspects in police custody have been identified as people who are alleged to have beaten the victim, which led to his death. Mr. Hamunga has named the 3 suspects as Austin Katoti, aged 22, who is detained for burglary and theft, Jeremiah Piri, aged 19, who is detained for theft, and John Kakoma, aged 19, detained for robbery.
In a turn of events, Police have washed their hands in the murder case labeled against them over the death of a 33-year-old man of Lusaka's Kuku compound identified as Adrian Banda, and have named 3 suspects who are already in police custody as being behind his death. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has told this reporter that on 14th October 2021 at around 05:38 hours, police at Chilenje police station received a report of criminal trespass and theft from motor vehicles from Sten Banda and Elias Kazumba, who brought one suspect by the name of Adrian Banda at the station. Mr. Hamonga says the suspect had bruises on both knees and seemingly okay and was detained at the police station. On the same day at around 17:30 hours, the suspect, now deceased, was reported to be unconscious in police lawful custody and was rushed at Chilenje Level 1 Hospital, where around 23:50 hours was pronounced dead.
The suspect was found within the premises with an iron bar and had bruises on both knees and seemingly okay, who was later detained. On the same day, on the 14th of October, around 17:30 hours, the suspect, now deceased, Adrian Banda, was reported to be unconscious in police lawful custody and was rushed to Chilenje Level 1 Hospital, where at 23:50 hours he was pronounced dead.
An inquiry filed to ascertain his death was opened, and 3 suspects in police custody were identified as people who are alleged to have beaten him. The 3 have been named as Augustine Katoti, age 22, who is detained for burglary and theft, Jeremiah Piri, age 19, who is detained for theft, and John Kakoma, age 19, who is detained for robbery.
An inquiry filed to ascertain his death was opened, and 3 suspects in the police custody were identified as people who are alleged to have beaten him. These are Augustine Katoti, age 22 years, who is detained for burglary and theft, Jeremiah Piri, age 19, detained for theft, and John Kakoma, age 19, detained for robbery. All the 3 are in police custody.
Family to the deceased that Wednesday accused police of murdering Mr. Banda after his body was discovered at the University Teaching Hospital mortuary. The family complained that they were never notified of the arrest of their family member until he was discovered in a mortuary after 5 days of searching, where they were later notified that he was brought in dead by police officers from Chilenje police station.
Pamene nafika kuja ku mortuary, mpamene napeza uja muntu ali mortuary ni wakufa. Sono po wafunsa waja ku mortuary nakamba kuti uyu muntu anamuleta nika Chilenje police. Sono zonse zimene mungafunse kuti muzibe muende kuti ku Chilenje. So pamene tinaenda kuja ku Chilenje kuja vanatifotokezera kuti uyu muntu ati anampasa mulandu wa trespassing. So chodabwisa kulire nje kuti ngati ni mulandu wa trespassing kodi umafunika upaya.
The postmortem is being done there. They have even cleaned the body. So we are surprised as family members. We are not allowed. We went there. The police officer they blocked us. We went there. We could see the bruise, how they brushed the body. The blood is clotting.
While police have on several occasions been accused of manhandling suspects in order to get them to confess to their crimes, protecting the victims until proven guilty still remains the #1 priority. The death of Mr. Banda, however, still raises eyebrows, as one would wonder how a suspect in lawful custody can be beaten at the point of death by his fellow suspects without police officers on duty hearing any pleas for help. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Voting has closed in Chisamba, Lusangazi and KAUMBWE, where the country is holding polls at local government and parliamentary level.
Voting has closed in Chisamba, Lusangazi and KAUMBWE, where the country is holding polls at local government and parliamentary levels. In Chisamba and Lusangazi, the country is holding mayoral and council chairperson elections respectively, while the people of KAUMBWE are electing a member of parliament and 4 councillors. Eastern Province has been known to be a patriotic front stronghold, although the recent general election indicated loss of grip, hence making it tight between the ruling UPND and the opposition PF. Incidents of violence have also been witnessed in KAUMBWE constituency parliamentary by-election in Petauke. The PF and the Socialist Party were victims, but the United Party for National Development denied sponsoring violence and called on law enforcement wings to act. 7 candidates are contesting the seat, with Esnat Sakala standing on the ruling UPND, Wilbes Tembo on the Democratic Party, Masao Sodaka contesting on the Socialist Party ticket. Others are Charles Nyanoka of Party of National Unity and Progress
and 2 independent candidates, namely Unique Mwale and Listed Tembo. 28-year-old Mpaza Zulu cast her vote at Nyalingwe polling station in KAUMBWE constituency in Petauke. Just like other voters, she anticipates those to be elected to lobby for development. Meanwhile, counting of votes is underway in various polling stations and will keep you informed on the results. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Democratic Party President Harry Kalaba has threatened to sue suspended DP Vice President Judith Kabemba and her other colleagues for the offence of defamation of character. Speaking to Camnet News Thursday, Mr. Kalaba says the allegation leveled against him that he has been misappropriating party funds are not true but an assassination of character by Ms. Kabemba. Mr. Kalaba says Ms. Kabemba will need to provide evidence before the court of law showing how he has been misappropriating funds.
As the saying goes, when the elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. Wrangles in the Democratic Party are far from being over, as the two heads of the party have continued to fight, bringing confusion into the party. While the suspended party vice president Judith Kabemba has been seen appearing on several media platforms, maintaining a position that President Harry Kalaba remains suspended from the party as he was only invited to act as party president, Mr. Kalaba, on the other side, has threatened to issue a lawsuit against Ms. Kabemba for defamation of character. Speaking to Camnet News shortly after appearing on a radio program, Mr. Kalaba says Ms. Kabemba will need to provide evidence to support her accusation that he has been misusing party resources.
I'm running for office of president, and any dent on my persona, we don't take it lightly. So she has to go and prove the allegations that he was misappropriating resources in the DP, or I do misappropriate resources in the party. I would want her to go and give specifics. Otherwise, that's very damaging to me, and I'm hate. And my character is being put on trial by a person who has never participated in bringing the level where it is.
At a meeting held on Wednesday at the party secretariat, DP National Secretary Jarvis Charlie equally disputed allegations that Mr. Kalaba has been misusing party funds and went ahead to suspend Ms. Kabemba and her two colleagues.
When you even know that this man is taking away the money that is supposed to feed his family, to sponsor the party activities, and you still want him to account for the same money. At the same time, he's accounting to his family why he's using. He's accounting to his family why he's misusing. He's actually misusing family monies in order for the party to run. So that cannot stand.
And when contacted for a comment, Ms. Kabemba said she will respond to the threats in due course. Meanwhile, the Federation for Democratic Process FODEP had stated that there is need for specific laws that will guide the formation and management of political parties in order to build strong political parties in a bid to safeguard the country's democracy. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The United Party for National Development UPND Alliance Council of Presidents has dismissed assertions that there is dissatisfaction and disunity in the alliance arising from some members not being given positions in the new administration. Addressing the media Thursday, UPND Alliance co-chair and president of the Zambians for Empowerment and Development, Dr. Ernest Mwansa, states that the UPND Alliance remains strong and sentiments which are aimed at causing disunity should be disregarded. Meanwhile, UPND Alliance chairperson Mr. Charles Milupi has called for the arm of the law to visit UPND cadres who have allegedly been perpetrating violence in KAUMBWE constituency and other parts of the country ahead of the 21st October by-elections.
Prior to the 12th August 2021 general elections, the country saw the expansion of the opposition alliance to include members such as Felix Mutate of the Movement for Democratic Change MDC, Kelvin Fuwe-Walia of the Zambia Must Prosper Movement, and Ernest Mwansa of the Zambians for Empowerment and Development ZDD, among others. Among the already existing members of the alliance were the Alliance for Democracy and Development ADD led by Charles Milupi and the Hakainde Hichilema led United Party for National Development UPND. It was agreed upon that the alliance would be named as the UPND Alliance due to the popularity of the party, with Mr. Hakainde Hichilema as its presidential candidate. The UPND alliance scooped the presidential seat with a landslide victory of over 2.8 million voters. 2 months after forming government, some stakeholders have begun raising sentiments that there is division among members of the UPND alliance, as some of them have not yet been given positions in the new administration. The UPND Alliance Council of Presidents met members of the media Thursday to dispel these assertions. Dr. Ernest Mwasa, co-chairperson of the UPND Alliance, had this to say.
Allegations of dissatisfaction among members of the alliance. Again, this is far from the truth. There are alliance members in government right now. We know of Honorable Milupi, Honorable Mutati, Honorable Mutoro Piri, Honorable Simbao, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga. All these are from the alliance members aside from the UPND itself. So we have representation in this government. The UPND alliance does not want to be distracted from its core responsibility of delivering its campaign promises to the people of our country.
Meanwhile, chairperson of the UPND Alliance, Mr. Charles Milupi, has also responded to sentiments that the new administration is slow in dealing with corruption, stating that investigative wings have been allowed to do their work.
So, when the president says that the law will take its course, the law enforcement agencies will be professional, there will be no political witch hunts or political direction on what to do. I think the country ought to be happy that what we preached for when we were campaigning, restoration of rule of law, is finally here with us.
Meanwhile, a political analyst, Dr. Alex Ngoma, says investigative wings should be given enough time to carry out investigations to see to it that they bring out desired results.
Those that are working for the investigative wings are human beings, are people just like us. And if we trust them, they will do the correct thing for us. Rather than pushing them, rather than hurrying them up, you know. They are not lazing around. So when you talk of the pace, that's how come a lot of times to please the people, they hurriedly take matters to court and then they have no sufficient information to win a case.
It remains clear that all eyes are on the new administration as it embarks on meeting the people's expectations. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
State House says political offenders will be subjected to the law without impartiality. Special Assistant to the President for Press and Public Relations, Anthony Bwalya, says under the new Dawn government, the law will not be abused to fix political opponents. And Mr. Bwalya told a media briefing that the government is committed to the job creation agenda and economic recovery for the good of all Zambians. He says the government is committed to equally commit to the decentralization process in view of bringing service closer to the people in their communities.
Today, all public procurement of services, goods and services, including works, is expected to meet 3 basic criteria, as the President has consistently talked about: right price, right quality, which also translates into value for money for our people, and also timely delivery. And further, that all public procurement, unless in very rare and exceptional circumstances, will be via open tender. We have also said would end the culture of political violence, which we have and continue to decisively deal with. And we want to continue to indicate that under this president and this administration, all those who think that they can rain terror and violence against political opponents will be subjected to the fullest extent of the law without partiality. Because this is also in tandem of our commitment to creating a Zambia that works for all Zambians. Now, these are just some of the numerous examples of the commitments the President and his administration made over the course of the campaign period, and we are already succeeding in fulfilling. Let me also indicate that the President is well aware that we have made a commitment to the Zambian people, commitment for jobs.
A political scientist, Evans Daka, has called for the remodeling of the Public Order Act to make it more specific, stating that the act is in its current form is too broad and gives too much power to the police. These statements came after calls from the outgoing United States-U.S. Charge d'Affaires David Young Tuesday that the Public Order Act should be scrapped off completely as it undermines democracy. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Daka states what is needed is remodeling of certain clauses in the Public Order Act, such as reducing the time frame within which one is supposed to get feedback from the police, as vague clauses have often been used by ruling parties to disadvantage political opponents.
In African democracies, concerns have often been raised by players on the political scene that most parties in government tend to use the police to disadvantage their political opponents. Such has been the case in Zambia over the years, where many political gatherings and movements have been restricted on the basis of the Public Order Act, POA. Many stakeholders have been calling for the Public Order Act to be scrapped off, including outgoing United States Charge d'Affaires David Young, who made these statements on Tuesday, stating that the act works against democracy. Other stakeholders, however, have disagreed with the scrapping off of this act, stating that it instead needs to be remodeled to ensure that it does not undermine democracy. Among them is political scientist Mr. Evans Daka, who states that one of the disadvantages of the act is that it is too broad, hence they need to remodel it to make it more specific.
So, in terms of the police, responding to you, because people would want to gather because of certain, reasons. So the police must be given a specific period of time. In fact, it's supposed to be quick, maybe within, because it's just notified, maybe within an hour or so, they give you feedback so that, you go ahead with your program. Because once they drag them, your program may lose, lose the purpose. So it's very important that the police respond quickly. The other thing is also the penalty. The penalty is quite harsh. It's quite harsh, and that is one of the issues that people are saying is supposed to be addressed.
Mr. Daka further adds that the process of appeal needs to be moved away from the Ministry of Home Affairs.
The other thing concerns with the issue of appeal. So if you are not happy with the application of the law itself, in terms of how it has been administered, you need to appeal to the Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs, of course, works with the police. So, for them to, administer it in a certain way, it means also the minister is, in agreement with whatever the police are doing.
He adds that having a law to maintain law and order is good, but says that there is need to make changes to prevent the law from being abused. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In other news, recently appointed State House Media Director Clayson Hamasaka has sued government in the Lusaka High Court seeking damages for false imprisonment over his arrest in 2013. According to a statement of claim filed before court, Mr. Hamasaka states that on the 9th of July 2013, he was subjected to an arbitrary house and personal search by a combined team of Drug Enforcement Commission and Zambia police who had alleged that they were looking for drugs in his house and was later arrested. The plaintiff states that his arrest and subsequent prosecution for the initial charges of dealing in drugs, defamation of the president and subjugacious practices was widely publicized in print and electronic media, both locally and internationally, leading to his dismissal at work. Mr. Hamasaka states that though he was acquitted in 2015, he has suffered loss of earning capacity of business, loss of reputation and inquiry to his personal credibility as a result of the forced arrest and prosecution, which led to him being shunned and isolated, as he also lost his employment at Evelyn Horn College as a lecturer and head of media and station manager for Horn FM broadcasting station. He is since seeking damage for forced imprisonment, pain and suffering. He is further claiming compensation for lost personal items, interests and costs. The Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security has stressed that the directive to abolish traffic snap checks points and only maintain security checkpoints does not mean tolerating lawlessness on public roads. According to a statement issued to Camnet TV by Ministry of Public Relations Officer Nefas Chifuta, states that it has come to the attention of the ministry that there is an increase of motor vehicles that are not roadworthy, unlicensed drivers and lawlessness on public roads have become a major public concern. The minister has since advised officers to ensure that they stop motorists suspected to have committed an offence and charge them accordingly. The ministry has further noted with concern that certain motorists are bullying and attacking traffic police officers for merely doing their job by ensuring that there is sanity on the public road. Lundazi District Drug Enforcement Commission in Eastern Province has burnt cannabis weighing 6.5 tons, pharmaceutical drugs and counterfeit notes amounting to 7,900 kwacha. Speaking on the sidelines of the exercise, the seized items, which were in custody of the state between the period of 2019 to date, the Drug Enforcement Commission Regional Commander Martin Chitamba says the commission conducted the exercise to show the state that whatever is confiscated is destructed according to the instruction from the Court of Law. The destruction exercise was held at the council dumping site near Chifuiti village in Chief Mpanda's area of Lundazi district and was witnessed by members from the Defense Security Wing, Judiciary and the media.
We've got more than 6.5 tons of cannabis that was seized during the period from 2019 to date. And amongst the things that we are also distracting here is some pharmaceutical drugs that were seized also confiscated from around the Lundazi district. This is amounting to almost about 7,900 kwacha. As Drug Enforcement Commission, we are doing this exercise to show the public that whatever has been seized before the institution is distracted according to the instructions from the court. Not to say that people, the way they look at it, to say that where does Drug Enforcement Commission take these drugs after the seizure. So this is actually the exercise to show members of the public that these drugs are being destroyed in the presence of officials. I would just urge members of the public and the people at large in Lundazi and also the Eastern Province that they should feel free to approach the Drug Enforcement Commission if they have got any queries to ask in terms of whatever is going on in Eastern Province as to how the Drug Enforcement Commission works. At the same time, members of the public are free to come and report any such kind of cases that may be happening within our communities and households where drugs and drug abuse are being seen to be happening, and the Drug Enforcement Commission is there to assist those families who've got such kind of problems.
The Buy Zambia campaign has called on government to take advantage of Zambia's excess electricity and peaceful environment to promote local production of goods and services. In an interview with Camnet News, Buy Zambia campaign agricultural engineer Mr. Layton Kanoa states that revelations from the Ministry of Energy that Zambia is operating with an excess of over 1,000 megawatts of electricity and that the tariffs in comparison to other countries in the region place the country in a good position to begin local production. He has also called for an increase in tax for imported products to give local entrepreneurs an advantage in a bid to promote Zambian products.
Do you know that within the region, SADC region, Zambia has the cheapest electricity? As long as we don't compare with what is happening in the region, we may think that electricity in Zambia is very expensive. Today, we don't have load shedding because we are able to produce more electricity than we can consume. That is good for production and productivity. So that's the first aspect I wanted to mention, which means that we have factors of production. We have almost all the factors of production. We have a peace in Zambia. Look at how we have transit from one government to the other. Extremely peaceful. Sometimes you don't even realize you have moved on to, another government. Yeah, that's how seamless, our transition, is in the country. And this is the greatest asset. And government has already provided the platform to start with. The peace, the public services. Now, what government must do going forward is to slowly check on our import profile and provide an opportunity for local production and productivity while ensuring that our local produce compete favorably with imported goods. One of which is playing around with the taxes and things of that sort, and putting limits on importation and prefer local products and productivity.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more news after this.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Thank you for staying with us. We continue with the rest of the main news. Minister of Transport and Logistics Frank Tayali says government is seeking a refund from a named company that was paid about $7 million United States dollars for the purchase of 2 airplanes by the previous Patriotic Front government, which have never been delivered. Speaking in an interview Thursday shortly after meeting with representatives from Lafarge Zambia Limited, the minister says government has opened up a line of communication with the company and is waiting for a response. The minister says once the company responds to the request, the nation will be informed on the next move in the shortest possible time. Meanwhile, the minister has told representatives of Lafarge Zambia Limited that government will work to improve the transport sector to ensure that transportation of goods is smoothly done to improve business.
No, look, what we obviously were opening up lines of communication. We've said there were these monies that were deposited into your company, and obviously that aspect of purchase of planes is off the table for the moment, and we're seeking a refund. So what that does is that has opened lines of communication, so we are waiting to hear from them. And that once that happens, then we should be able to get back to you. But obviously in the shortest possible time.
The government has observed that well-informed media practitioners are are a critical catalyst towards combating the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Thursday, 45 journalists and health experts in Lusaka convened to deliberate on improved media coverage on the anticipated COVID-19 fourth wave in Zambia. Minister of Health, Director of Health Promotions, Dr. Abel Caballo, taught the media to take a proactive approach in curbing myths surrounding vaccines. He has hailed through the Ziwa Science and Technology Trust for taking a proactive approach to bridge the knowledge gap among the media personnel through the COVID-19 Linking Science to Society Better Lives project. And ZAP's Executive Director Veronica Mwaba says it is important for the general public to pay attention to early warning systems and act to avoid disaster.
Government respects science, which has demonstrated that COVID-19 vaccines work and that they are safe. You, as the media practitioners, therefore, have a responsibility to communicate this critical information to the general public. As a country, we have seen a steady decline in COVID-19 infections, but this can only be sustained. These gains can only be sustained they can only be sustained in as far as people are concerned, and we need to ensure that I think we get vaccinated so that we sustain the gains that we've made. So vaccination is one of the key strategies in the fight against the pandemic.
Of these journalists who are so passionate to specialize in public health reporting, some of which include COVID-19. This is what we are doing. But then, it still remains greater responsibility to build trust remains with the scientists. You have a greater responsibility, guest of honor, to build trust on the efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines and use facts to dismiss the doubts. Media will come on board to promote the achievements of science.
Minister of Lands Elijah Mchima regrets that most land irregularities have been as a result of poor administration by the local authorities in the country. Mr. Mchima notes with concern that councils have been given more authority over land, but the outcome has been bad. He is disappointed that double allocation of land has been prominent among local authorities, hence they will consider revising the responsibility being given to councils. Meanwhile, Mr. Mchima says the ministry would not get onto the e-government system under Smart Zambia without consultations from all stakeholders. Mr. Mchima says there is need to bring in a new system for land surveys while giving stakeholders a platform to present their submissions before the implementation. He made these remarks when a team from the Surveyors Institute of Zambia called on him at his office in Lusaka Thursday.
Law policies. We need to examine our policies. There have been complaints, double allocations also have been coming from the councils. Councils carried more powers on the land allocation. That we need to look at it. That is what was causing problems. Final issuance of the title deed on land should be from the principal, which is the Minister of Lands. But it's too early for me to do that because we need to go into it. And we shall consult the stakeholders throughout the country the way they want us to manage their land. Yeah, it was wrong. Cadres had too much power. But with this government, we don't want cadres to have powers. We want the law to control the land. Issuance of land, operation of anything should be by law, not by individuals.
The Health Professions Council of Zambia has cited that one person has been arrested in Pulungu district of Northern Province for providing healthcare services without any prior training in the health profession and registration with the Health Professions Council of Zambia. HPCZ Senior Public Relations Officer Terry MUSONDA has revealed that Ruben Mumba, male aged 45, has since been charged and arrested for practicing as a health practitioner contrary to Section 6 and 30 of the Health Professions Act No. 24 of 2019 of the laws of Zambia, and for operating an unlicensed health facility contrary to Section 36 of the same Act. Until his arrest, Mr. Mumba has been operating a grocery store at MUSONDA market, where he also sold and administered various medicines, among them injectable, including suspected amphipholine, gametine and doxycycline.
Ruben Mumba, aged 45, has since been charged and arrested for practicing as a health practitioner, which is contrary to Section 6 and 30 of the Health Profession Act No. 24 of 2009 of the laws of Zambia, and also for operating an licensed health facility contrary to Section 36 of the same Act. Until his arrest, Mr. Mumba had been operating a grocery store at MUSONDA market, where he was selling and administering various medicines, among them injectables. He was found behind the door of his grocery, where he was intercepted before he could inject a non-medicine into a patient who went to complain of a suspected sexually transmitted infection. After questioning Mr. Mumba, he admitted being a grade 11 dropout and having not undergone any health training. The matter is expected to proceed to court next week. As HPCZ, we want to press it on record that every facility operating in this country is expected to display in a prominent place their valid HPCZ license, and this applies to both the facilities and that of practitioners. And as a matter of fact, the patient has the right to demand to see the facility license, and indeed any other facility, including that of the health practitioner who is attending to them.
Commerce, Trade and Industry Minister Chipoka Mulenga has arrived in Turkey's commercial and industrial hub of Istanbul to attend the Turkey-Africa Economic and Business Forum. Mr. Mulenga will join dignitaries from 39 African countries at the two-day Economic and Business Forum, which will be officially opened tomorrow by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The forum is being held under the theme Deepening Turkey-Africa Partnership, Trade, Investment, Technology and Logistics. Speaking shortly after arrival at Istanbul Airport, Mr. Mulenga said the Turkey-Africa Economic and Business Forum was timely and in line with the United Party for National Development administration's development agenda aimed at ensuring that citizens accrue maximum benefits from Zambia's international engagements through promotion of trade and investment. Mr. Mulenga was received by Charge d'Affaires at the Zambia Mission in Turkey, Stefan Mwenya, Honoring Consul of Zambia in Istanbul, Dr. Bülent Kutan, and officials from the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Turkey. Mr. Mulenga is also expected to attend a ministerial meeting chaired by Minister of Trade of the Republic of Istanbul, Dr. Mahet Mas, and African Union Commissioner for Economic Development, Trade, Industry and Mining Ambassador Albert Mchanga.
Rather, our policy as the new Dawn government is to base our bilateral engagement on trade and investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think this is just the right summit. It couldn't have come at a better time than this one. So we'll see how we improve our relations, especially based on trade. So we're so grateful for your government, your president, for organizing this one. And we're very certain that after this summit, our trade engagement will get even better.
Minister of Labour and Social Security Brenda Tambatamba has called upon the Human Resource Management Fraternity through the Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management to prioritize creation of strategies to support the development of the productive capacities of workers. Speaking when she officiated the Human Resource Virtual Discussion Forum, the minister says this can be done through investing in lifelong training to reskill and upskill the workforce in order for them to remain relevant in the midst of the future of work challenges. She says this complements government's efforts of expanding access to education and training, promoting apprenticeship and work-based learning, and creating awareness on the rights of workers and ensuring strict compliance to the labor laws. Meanwhile, Ms. Tambatamba says her ministry will not take kindly to willful violation of the labor laws, urging the custodian of the country's human capital, the Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management, to strongly promote compliance to the labor laws.
As I conclude, I wish to call upon the Human Resource Management fraternity through the Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management to prioritize creation of strategies to support the development of the productive capacities of workers. This can be done through investing in lifelong training to reskill, upskill the workforce in order for them to remain relevant in the midst of the future of work challenges, which I earlier alluded to, complementing government's efforts of expanding access to education and training, promoting entrepreneurship and work-based learning, and the creating of awareness on the rights of workers and ensuring strict compliance to the labor laws. My ministry will not take kindly to willfully violating of the labor laws and the custodians, and as the custodians of the country's human capital, I wish to urge the Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management to strongly promote compliance to the labor laws. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I wish to encourage discussions of this nature as we reposition the country for economic recovery and turnaround for the betterment of our people.
We'll take our second set of commercials. Coming next is international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Getting into our international item, pro-civilian protesters in Sudan are demanding the transitional government to be dissolved days into a sit-in in front of the presidential palace in Khartoum. They have broken away from the Forces of Freedom and Change, who organized protesters, which led to the removal of President Omar al-Bashir in 2019 with the ministry's help. But now the protesters are saying that the demands made during the 2018 revolution have not been met and that they have been sidelined. Al Jazeera has more.
It was once the hardest place for protesters to access and voice their demands. But for the fifth day, people are holding a sit-in in front of Sudan's presidential palace in Khartoum. They're demanding the transitional government step down.
I was in the revolution. I was supposed to be represented in this government, but I don't see anything that represents me. A few parties took over the revolution and stole it. We want the military to dissolve the civilian government. Let them remove the Prime Minister and all the committees that have been formed.
The country is destroyed. People are hungry. Students can't learn. Those in the hospital can't get the treatment. We demand the government leave and free and fair elections be held. Let the military dissolve the government and take over.
These are mostly supporters of the National Charter Alliance, a dissident group from the Forces of Freedom and Change coalition. That's the coalition that led months of anti-government protests in 2019, resulting in the military ousting of longtime President Omar al-Bashir. But for months, the coalition has been divided. The National Charter Alliance says the Forces of Freedom and Change has sidelined many groups that took part in the revolution, and it's demanded the interim government be dissolved, despite the fact some of its leaders hold positions in it. Some of those here are from Darfur, where the leaders of the National Charter Alliance have a base amongst those displaced by the region's war. Others say they came because they're angry about the government's economic performance. The location of the sit-in has raised questions about the role of the military in the transitional government. While the head of the Sovereignty Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has said he's committed to Sudan's transition to democracy, his silence about the sit-in right outside the presidential palace has been noticeable. And it comes at a time when tensions are rising between the military and civilian leadership. An attempted coup last month has further strained relations between the two sides in government. The civilian leaders have accused supporters of the former government of being behind the failed coup. Since the sit-in started, the soldiers around the palace have provided protection for the protesters, leading those opposing it to accuse the military of being biased. It's also prompted rallies in other areas of Khartoum and other states. Thousands of young people gathered in preparation for Thursday, the anniversary of Sudan's first revolution in 1964. Many say they reject the sit-in and what it calls for.
It's like, I don't see how it would be necessary to negotiate something so obvious, in a way. It just feels like the right choice would be to have a civil government, purely civil. There is no place for a military rule.
Sudan's Prime Minister wants to hold talks to ease the political divide, while both sides have called for their supporters to turn up for separate protests. The divisions now seem to move from meeting rooms to Sudan's streets.
Residents of Titania in the north of Port-au-Prince are reeling from the recent abduction of a group of Christian missionaries and their families. This health clinic is one of several public services in the community that have benefited from donations provided by the charity workers. Many here worry the kidnapping might mean that assistance from the missionary organization could come to an end.
We have not received any help now because they kidnapped the missionaries. Whatever happened, that is hurting us. It's affecting us a lot and it's hurting us.
Our arrival in Titanian did not go unnoticed. Many locals were eager to share examples of how the charity group has improved the lives of community members. Since the kidnapping, emotions here are running high.
The government does nothing for us. Then we have a group of people who come to our community to help us, and this happens. We can't treat them like this. We are demanding their freedom. We demand that the national police do something fast.
This video, displaying an arsenal of firearms and munitions, was recently posted on social media by a group called 400 Mogozo, the criminal gang responsible for the abduction. The group has been blamed for some 80% of the kidnappings that take place in Haiti. The gang is asking for $17 million in ransom.
We're outside the headquarters of the Christian Aid Ministry's mission in Haiti, and we were told off the record by a staff member that all but a handful of aid workers have been evacuated from the country, and almost all of their work has been suspended as efforts remain underway to free the hostages.
With each passing day, the charity mission remains closed. Locals who depend on food donations and other free services are growing more desperate for assistance.
I pray to God that the kidnappers release the missionaries because they are the ones that helped me. I was sleeping on the streets.
While Haiti's national police declined to comment on the ongoing investigation, a joint effort with U.S. federal agents remains underway to free the 17 hostages. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera, Port-au-Prince.
We'll now get into our sports story. The Copper Queens are back in Lusaka after their outing in Malawi, where they drew 1-1 with the Scorcher in the Morocco 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations qualifier match played yesterday at Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe, with captain Grace Chanda scoring for Zambia while Sabina Tom was on the score sheet for the home side. The coach Bruce Mwape drilled lessons will now shift their attention to Tuesday's return match against the MC Nelbert Kazua's tutored side at Lusaka's Nkoloma Stadium to determine who qualifies to the next round, where they will meet either Namibia or Tanzania, who also played their first leg with the brave Gladiators winning 2-1 at the expense of the Twiga Stars. A scoreless draw or a victory of any margin will be enough for the Copper Queens to progress to the next round, while the Scorchers will be hoping for a scoring draw or more than one goal or a victory to advance to the second round. The story is a courtesy of FA's Facebook page. Well, that story item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Police accuse detainees of killing a fellow. Faith Musonda escapes jail. Government to punish political offenders without impartiality as counting of votes in KAUMBWE underway. And in international news, Sudan transition at critical juncture as power struggle deepens. And in sports, Copper Queens back home as they shift their focus on Tuesday return march. Well, that is all. Before we go, here's our Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from the book of Psalm verse 40 verse 8, and it reads, I desire to do your will, my God, your law is within my heart. That is all. Thank you for joining us. I am Precious Mzeda Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.